mean this was some sort of a game?
Hello and welcome to another episode 6 of 49 Undefeated. I'm Silent Noise, and this week I'm joined by Michelle. How you doing?
Hi, good to see you. How are you? Riding high off of today?
Of course, man. The game, I mean, before it all started, literally before the game gets going, all the nerves and all that kind of stuff kicks in, doesn't it?
Yeah,
And then
you sat there in a cold sweat going, do I really want to sit through this for 90 minutes? I don't know.
Will Harry Kane continue to be as rubbish as he has been against
Oh my God.
the other
He
teams?
looked like he didn't want to be there, didn't he? He just looked like he'd given up.
It doesn't look good for them at the moment. It doesn't look good, but hey.
It really doesn't. Looks great for us. It worked for us.
It's wonderful. 3-1 to Arsenal. Man. How do you feel about it?
I was right. When we scored the first goal, I was like, right, calm down. It's like 11 minutes.
Yeah.
And just in the build-up, Tony Adams had been talking about Saka and Emil Smith-Rowe being the future of the club, and seeing them link up for that goal, I was like, oh my God, it's really happening. And then I thought, oh no, we're going to do something stupid now, aren't we? Like, I was like, Partey's going to get injured, or Ramsdale's going to come out and hit someone in the head or something. Anyway, we didn't. So we got to 2, then we got to 3, and I was like, oh, this is it. And I was sort of hoped we'd go for a 4th, but I was quite impressed with the game management, because I think old Arsenal would have gone for a 4th, done something stupid, and ended up at 3-3 or something like that.
Yeah.
Whereas Arteta and the players obviously just decided to go, do you know what? We've scored enough. Let's just sit back. They have to play now. Let them come at us. And I think the way the game was managed is the best I've seen it in a while. And then
that's the thing.
There was a lot of shouting. Yeah.
I mean, like literally exactly the same. Like after the first goal, I was just like, okay, it's early doors. Like we've got a goal. Like we've scored in the first half. We've got a goal. Let's not get too happy and let's just see what happens. But they were blitzing them, like literally from the first like 15-20 minutes of that game. I was thinking they don't look at it. Like every ball that was there to be run for, we were like straight on it, straight at them all the time. And it was just like, this is looking promising. Yeah. And then I was thinking the same thing. It was like, okay, we got the first goal, the second, and then I was like, okay, what are we gonna do here? Like,
I was like, are we gonna do an Arsenal? Are we? I think as well, like we have seen Arsenal really come out the blocks and play really well for the first 20 minutes, and then just throw a game away after that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I was kind of cautiously holding on.
Yeah.
And then after about 20 minutes, they did sit back a bit, because you can't continue to play at that pace for the whole 90.
Yeah.
Like you'll keel over and die, I think. But I'm so used to them having those spells of 10 or 20 minutes, and then just, I don't want to phrase it with any swear words, but like putting it up a wall, so to speak. And actually they didn't. They just toughed it out a little bit better today. I wasn't surprised that we didn't kick on that much more in the second half, because we all know Nuno was going to take those boys into the changing room and put a rocket up their backsides, because there was no way they could continue like that. And we all knew it would be a different Spurs that came out in the second half, and Arteta and the team were ready for that. They knew, and they went, well, let's keep doing what we're doing, and we'll adjust as and when we need to, when we see who Spurs are going to put on. And I think the other thing that made me feel quite good about the game was looking at the bench. There were players for us that we could have brought off the bench to change the game if we needed to.
Yeah.
Thankfully, we didn't need to, but I looked at that in comparison to the Spurs bench, and I was like, they've pretty much fielded the strongest 11 they could at this point. Yeah.
Well, let's have a look at it. Like, when the team lineups come out, what was your initial thoughts? Like, looking at who was playing.
There were a lot of rumours that Leno was going to start, wasn't there? And people going, God, Arteta. There were a lot of rumours, because Hansi Flick was there as well, and he's the only German player on either of those teams.
Yeah.
Which might explain why he didn't look very happy about being on the bench, like frantically chewing gum. Yeah. So I'm really pleased that
I didn't want him to. I wanted Ramsdale to continue playing in goal, because he's done so well, and it suddenly looks like that four are developing a relationship and starting to work together.
You know what? We've had 3 or 4 years now of a constantly changing backline, a 3, a 5, a 4, never the same players. So I do understand why Leno's not been able to perform in the way that he's capable of, but we have a back four and they are settled, and I think that's half the battle won.
That's
Our
it. Yeah.
midfielders, I mean, the midfielders still going to have to track back and help out, but they don't really have to worry about what's going on behind them now.
Yeah.
And they can think about pushing forward and providing the strikers with the service that they haven't been getting because they've been tracking back, trying to fill gaps in the defence. So having that back four in,
yeah. I think there's no clearer case in that than Ramsdale's confidence when he's distributing the ball. He's not worried about who he's passing it to. Whereas you can see it from Leno. Every time he gets the ball, he's like, "Oh man, I don't trust you. I can't pass to you."
Yeah, but I think Leno's a really good keeper. Yeah, no, he doesn't. He's confident. He's. I think Leno is good. And you know, when you've had David Luiz playing in front of you for the last few years, you're not going to have confidence in anyone, are you? But Ramsdale is solid. He knows who his more technical players are. He knows Gabriel's got the aerial stuff covered.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to be really honest. I was really upset when Bellerin was going. I know he's not our best player, but he's a big part of the club.
Gets it. He gets it, doesn't he?
He gets it. He does. And I was a little bit apprehensive about Tommy. I do watch a lot of Serie A, but I didn't know much about him. I knew that some other teams like Juve were looking at him, getting him from Bologna. So Leicester makes some quite good signings. And I was a bit like, have we just randomly signed someone to fill the gap? But he's good. I really like him.
See, I didn't
he's
know
a lot
too
bigger
much
than
about
I thought he was.
Yeah, he is. And
he's big,
I didn't
he's
know.
Strong. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know much about his play, and I was just like, he's come in, and I'm just watching him cold now, and everything I'm seeing from the guy, I'm just like, yep, it makes sense. It makes sense for a sign like where we are right now. It doesn't make sense going for a name type player when we can get this guy who's doing a job, and he seems to be like fighting for the cause, like battling hard.
He's quick, he's strong, he's good in the air. He's 6'2", and he's pretty speedy for a big guy as well, you know.
Yeah.
And I think that's something the Arsenal defence has been really lacking for a long time, that physicality. And Tierney's brought it with him a bit, but there's only so much he can do by himself out on the left.
Yeah. And that's the thing, it's
Gabriel's
brought that balance,
back in the mix.
Hasn't it? Brought that balance back to the right-hand side a little bit as well, hasn't it? Like
everything was going down the left for so long. Yeah. Balance is the key thing. And again, Adams was doing the half-time commentary with Ledley King and Graham Souness. And actually the words that Adams used, and he's right, is that it's a balanced squad now, and it makes such a difference.
It does.
Even though Souness didn't want to concede that we'd played well and just went on about how bad Spurs had been. He just refused to admit.
Sourness, man.
Bit of Betty he is. So Gary Neville, full of praise. So
really?
If you can get G-Nev praising you, I think you're all right.
See, I was streaming like like the Dubai stream, so I didn't have none of that. I had like Keys and Gray talking their usual nonsense, but I saw the picture of Adams sitting next to Ledley and
grinning away.
He just looked depressed.
You know, they come back after half time, and what's his name? Ed Thingy goes, so it's 3-0 to Arsenal at half time, and Tony Adams just sat there grinning away like an absolute maniac. I mean, it's a good job Ian Wright wasn't in the studio, because he would have been on a proper wind up with everyone.
Well, I saw a clip of Wrighty was in another studio with Hoddle, and they were doing another one.
Of course he was.
And again, it was just fantastic.
And he's a massive Saka fan, isn't he? And I think he knows Smith Rowe's dad as well, so he's quite a big Emil fan. I bet he was sobbing. with joy. I love it when Ian gets carried away on social media. It's the
absolutely,
best.
Absolutely.
He's the best.
But no, I was quite happy with the team when it come out. Again, like I'm happy that the back line's staying pretty much as it is. And I think with the front line, I don't mind if it's Saka, Pepe, or Martinelli or Smith Rowe, or they're chopping and changing. I think there's enough quality there that they can chop and change and share those minutes at the moment. It's the midfield that I think is going to be the point for us.
I think up front, it depends who you're playing as well. Like if you're going to play a stubborn team like Burnley, actually you need Lacazette and his hold-up play. You do. But then if you want a team where you can run at them with some speed, that's when you deploy your Martinellis and everyone. Like, I think having that range of striking options is good. And it does mean if one of them's not firing, which has been an issue, there
Yeah.
is someone else. The midfield, the midfield, we're getting there. But the thing is, I think when you've got Odegaard and Smith Rowe today, Pepe had to be sacrificed. He did.
Yeah.
There's no way you're starting the North London derby without Saka. Like
No.
Arteta would be vilified by the fans for
Yeah.
it.
And
And it's
I
yeah,
think looking at that first goal, you can see why Saka got that nod, because
got the
he takes
choice.
the
Yeah.
ball and he pushes it. He looks like he's going to come in on his left foot, and then he pushes it onto his weaker right foot, but then gets the crossing for Smith Rowe. And
His passing accuracy when he dings those crosses across is scary good. Like you just know where that player is going to be. Like you don't even have to look.
It's
But
intelligence
yeah,
above his age, isn't it? He
100%.
knows
And
exactly
then
what to do when.
and him and Emil have played together for such a long time through the academy and through Hale,
Yeah,
and they know each other in the way that Lacazette and Aubameyang seem to know each other.
yeah,
Like they know where the other one's going to be.
for
They know
sure.
when they need to track back and pick up for the other. And if we can keep them both playing together the way they are, I think it
Yeah,
could be a really positive season. It's a shame about Pepe because I think since the back end of last season, he's really
he's
improved
pushed on, hasn't he?
massively.
He's pushed
He's
on. Yeah,
really pushed on. But when you've got the amount of midfielders we do with the skill set, someone's going to be dropped at some point, and it's never going to be perfect. Whether it's someone needing a rest, or whether Sambi comes in because Jack is on another yellow or something, whatever the reason is, someone is going to be sacrificed at some point, and they're just going to have to suck it up a bit.
yeah,
They're going to have to
yeah.
earn that place in the starting 11,
It is a
which
bit
I think is a good
unlucky,
thing.
but yeah, at the
But I
end of
think
the day, there's not that much minutes. With not being in Europe, there's not that much minutes between the team, but
yeah.
it's a chance for those players that do get called up to show the manager what they can do, isn't it?
Yeah, Ramsdale said it the other day, actually. He said, it's not the manager's job to pick me, it's my job to keep giving him a reason to pick me.
Yeah,
And I
yeah,
think that
yeah,
spoke volumes. And I
yeah,
think that's a distinct shift in mindset from some Arsenal players. And we do still have some in the squad who feel that they just deserve to start
yeah.
because they're a senior player.
Mm-hmm.
And with your Sakas, your Smith Rowes, Odegaard, Ramsdale, the boys at the back now, they know they've got to earn it. And that mentality shift needs to happen for the
Yeah,
last
yeah.
few stragglers, I think. No one's guaranteed minutes.
No,
Well,
no,
except for
no.
the back four, I think,
And
at the moment.
I think that's why the team come out the way they did. Like the way that first like 25, 30 minutes went, where they were just literally just bombing forward. Like you was looking at it like there's no way they could keep doing this, because they were all over them. That like totally swarmed them from like
Wasn't
the
it
first
nice to
whistle.
actually? It was nice to be there and just put the game to bed quite
Yeah,
early doors,
yeah,
and then be able to relax rather than this whole, oh god, we've got to claw back a
yeah.
2-goal deficit. It makes for great viewing, but look, if I don't have a heart attack or minor stroke by the end of this season watching this team, I can't keep doing
Well,
it. I'm
what
getting on a bit now.
what it reminded me of was I don't know if you remember, we played Liverpool at the beginning of the season like a few years back, and they
We
totally
lost 4-3, didn't we? We went like 3-0 down.
blitzed us like right in the beginning of the game, and it just reminded me of that. Like literally, just go and just kill off the game early doors, and then just play and see it out for the rest of
Then do
for
what
the
you
rest of
need
the
to
game.
do.
Yeah,
Yeah, I do remember. I was in Amsterdam at the time. I had
yeah.
a season ticket, and I obviously couldn't use it because I wasn't there. And I was in
Mm.
Amsterdam, completely legal and above board, I promise,
Yeah.
watching the game in this Dutch bar. And no one else is there that's obviously an Arsenal or Liverpool supporter, and it's got like Dutch commentary, and I'm just losing my mind. So I remember that game very distinctly.
Quite clear.
Very distinctly.
But
I
yeah,
can tell you
no.
exactly where I was. Yeah.
The guys that come through, they done their thing. Odegaard, I think, played well in that first half an hour. It's like they just didn't know who was to stick with him, or like pick him up, track his runs or anything. He was picking up those nice little spaces in between the lines, wasn't he? And just he had the freedom just to pass the ball left or right, really.
And when you've got like Partey and Xhaka behind you, you're not tracking back doing the defensive work. So he did have that creative freedom. And I looked at the Spurs midfield today, and I'm not saying it because they're Spurs and I don't like them, but I don't see a creative player there who's giving that front three the service they need.
It's a bit weird what they're trying to do at the moment. I don't quite get it, because Højbjerg was their like sitting midfielder last season, and then they kind of sometimes they've been playing him out on the like the right hand side.
Yeah, they've been moving him around in a weird way.
I don't get it. But
I just,
hey.
I feel like I watched the post-match stuff, and Nuno's very diplomatic. He'll never
Yeah.
vilify his players in public, but he kind of said or alluded to the fact that he'd given them clear instructions and they didn't do it. They did not understand the assignment in the same way that Arsenal did, you know.
Okay,
He
really?
didn't say it in so many words, but
Sure.
you could tell he was definitely very frustrated that. But then, I mean, I said it right at the start of watching the game. Hugo Lloris walked out of that tunnel, and that was a man with nerves all over his face. And he likes to do what I call Hugo howlers. So he does this thing where he's either brilliant or terrible. It's like watching Squillaci at the back, you know. And I thought, I took one look at his face and I went, we're going to get some Hugo howlers today. That is not a man who is confident of that back line in front of him. Gone are the days where he had Vertonghen and Alderweireld. I don't even know what was going on back, but he just looked extremely nervous and genuinely quite anxious, and you could see it. And I thought, oh God.
They had Sanchez, didn't they? They brought Sanchez back in, and
I swear
Aubameyang had a good game against him the last time, and I was like, oh, thank God you brought this guy back in, because this is going to be fun.
Yeah, just ran right, you know, and and also there were times. I mean, we gave it a good go, but I still thought we had another gear or two we could have gone through if we really needed to, you know. And when you're getting to 55, 60 minutes and the fans are already doing the olays for the passes, they went full Barcelona. They just bore everyone to tears. But yeah, Lloris did not look confident or comfortable at all. And when he's the club captain, if you've got players who haven't played in the North London derby and your club captain is walking out with that kind of body language and demeanour, it's never a good sign. It's never good. Whereas the Arsenal boys just rocked out like, yep, we're going to do it. They just exuded it, didn't they? Loved it.
Yeah.
But yeah, Hugo worried me. Well, he didn't worry me. Actually, brought me a great deal of joy because he doesn't play for my team, so it's fine. But that was a man. He looked on the edge today.
But also Kane, like I think he only had like one chance in the first half that I can recall where I think it was a header from the corner.
Yeah.
And it just went wide. But throughout that first half, it was just nothing. I was just looking at him like, okay, you don't look like the same player. Like,
he doesn't. He's despondent. He doesn't want to be there. You know. Sky put a stat up after about 20 minutes. In the first 20 minutes of the game, they listed the 6 players on the pitch that had the least touches on the ball. Yeah. Harry Kane was top of that list. He touched the ball twice in 20 minutes. His own keeper had touched the ball more than he had.
Wow, okay.
Probably digging it out the back of his
net.
But
I saw a stat going into the game where he's like literally touched the ball about, I can't remember if it was like 12 or something, or even less than that times throughout the course of all the other games. It was just like, wow.
Before today's game, he had played 288 minutes of football and had 3 shots and no goals.
Yes, keep that going. Keep that going, please.
Yeah. Well, even Aubameyang scored some. Come on, guys.
I know.
He's finding form again now, isn't he?
Well, he was running the last couple of games. He's been running into the channels, and his body language and everything. Yeah, it's looking better, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I was worried about him. There was all the issues around how much money he was getting paid and not performing. But then we need to have, like, his mum died last year. He had malaria. That's not something you get over really quickly.
Yeah.
Captain of a club where the fans are very quickly and clearly turning on them and the manager. It's going to take its toll, but he looks a lot happier.
Yeah.
And
I think the team
he seems to be getting his groove back. Yeah,
I think it's refreshing to see like the guys playing with a bit of smile and a bit of something about them rather than the pressure.
They're enjoying it. Yeah.
And I think that's because a lot of them are young as well, isn't it? Like a lot of them, because they've got that youth around in the team, it's just like we can express ourselves a bit more.
Yeah, and these are players, your Sakas and Smith Rose and everyone who have come through the academy. They've come through the Arsenal way, through Hale End. Offers have been made for them both by other clubs, and they've chosen to stay. So they clearly believe in the club and the mission, and you know, and just seeing them looking happier. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, you've only beaten Norwich and Burnley and they're bottom of the table, and that's fine, but that momentum counts for a lot.
Yeah.
And I was worried a few days ago that if we were to lose the North London derby that it would be back to square one, like we were after the Brentford game.
That is the thing, isn't it? It's like you wanted to keep it going because, and especially in a game like this, because of the last games, it was like, okay, when you was up against the top 4 teams, it's like, okay, you knew you was gonna get beat. But then now we played the lesser teams, and it's like, oh yeah, but it's only them, and it's only them. But it's like at the end of the day,
you've got to get those 3 points.
We got to get the 3 points, and if we lost today, it would have been there you go. You come up against another test, and you bottle it again. And you fall at the hurdle. But no, that's why it's so important to have that momentum and have that going into the game, so we can keep the pressure up and keep the intensity in the players' heads and all sorts.
I think this was a very, very, very important game, not just because it's the North London derby, but it was big for the players and it was huge for Arteta.
Yeah,
huge.
Oh, you
and
could
I'm
see,
really
couldn't
glad.
you? Like, I don't think he was.
So
I don't think he was egging that on or overdoing it. I think he was like really.
He's quite understated as a manager. Generally, I find like he's quite. So you can see it means a lot to him. I think it's definitely bought him some more time.
Sure.
But sure. six games in, we've won 3 and lost 3. So have Spurs.
Yeah.
After we'd lost 3 games, people were bawling for Arteta's head. Where are the media now on Nuno?
Yeah.
They're not. They're just like, oh well, he's a new manager settling in.
Yeah.
It's not the same attitude that Arteta gets.
The media, the way things are with Arsenal, it's always treated as more of a banter thing, isn't it? Like literally everything we do is comical and it's all blown out of proportion every time we lose. Anytime anything happens to do with Arsenal, it's like, okay, let's put a magnifying glass on this and poke at it and make fun out of it. I think that's.
Someone was saying the other day, actually, like after the Chelsea loss, and obviously Chelsea beat Tottenham, didn't they? People were going on about how that Chelsea weren't that good and we were just that bad. But the attitude was different to the Tottenham game. Chelsea were just absolutely amazing and outclassed them. It's like, no, they lost by more than we did. Yeah. They lost by 3 goals. We lost by 2. Like, the attitude of the media towards the club is not great, is it?
It's not. Even I watched the Chelsea versus City game yesterday, and Aubameyang probably did as much as what Lukaku did in their game against City, and no one mentioned how little Lukaku affected that game whatsoever. It's like I think he only had like 2 or 3 touches in that game, and he didn't do nothing. But because it's Lukaku and Chelsea, it's going to be like next week, he'll be back up to it. But if Aubameyang has a game like that, it's oh no, this guy is not interested.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, with Aubameyang, I do really like Aubameyang. I think he's great, and I think he plays really well for his age, and he's made it really clear he wants to see out his time at the club. Like earlier, he did an interview with Smith Rowe, and he was talking about his kids hopefully one day getting to train at Hale End and stuff like that. So, like, he clearly loves the club.
Yeah.
I'll be honest though, I don't think he's captain.
He's not. He's definitely not. He doesn't lead the team in the sense that when we need something, if our backs up against the wall, we need a player to drag and galvanize that team. He's definitely not that kind of player.
He's great for the media stuff and from a fan perspective, and I understand why the choice was made. But but now he's in a position they're not going to take the captaincy off of him, he's done nothing to warrant it being taken off of him.
No,
but
it's just
if it was me, I'd be giving that armband to Kieran Tierney.
Tierney, yeah.
Big KT at the back.
I think the majority of fans recognise that he has to be up there as like the leading contender to take that. I mean,
though Gabriel's looking like he's got a bit of something about him as well.
Yeah. He's putting it in, and at the end of the day, I think what's weird is because Bellerin is only on loan, and he would naturally, because of the length that he's been at the club, you would assume he would be next in line to take that captaincy.
And he occasionally would do it when Aubameyang wasn't playing, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
Oh, Hecky B. I wasn't worried about him. He's been good at Betis, though. So.
Has he? Have you caught much of it?
Yeah, he got I think he got an assist the other day. I think.
Okay.
but he's been looking quite good. They're quite happy with him.
It's a weird one.
He does have a bit of a dodgy Tash situation, but
I think he was growing that because he knew he was going back over to.
He was going to I do really miss his interviews and his North London Spanish mashup act. And he's like, yeah, we had a really good game today, mate. I miss it. I do.
I do like Bellerin. I just feel like it was. I feel like the move was just good for him and club. I think it was the right time to just do something different. If this pushes him on
as a kid,
if this pushes him on and he comes back like training or whatever, and Arteta looks at him and says, you know what, you're back in my team, I wouldn't be unhappy about that. I'll be like, okay, let's see what happens.
Like him. I mean, but at the moment he is going to struggle. Tomiyasu, like his stats are good. Like he's up there on a par with Van Dijk statistically at the moment, you know. And Bellerin will struggle to start ahead of him if he continues his form. But he has only played a couple of games, you know. What is going to happen when we play Cristiano United down the line, as I like to call them? You know, what is going to happen when we play the Liverpools of this world? Is he going to be able to hold his own back?
Just on Ronaldo, did you see the Aston Villa fans outside the ground? Taking an absolute
but you know, but like that. Who was I speaking to the other day? I was speaking to someone the other day. It's like, you don't need to do that. Like, you don't need to roll around. You are a world-class player. And like, you are one of the greatest players we've ever seen. You don't need to roll around on the floor for silly penalties. And to be honest with you, you're becoming a bit of a joke for it.
Yeah, I think
it's going to ruin his legacy.
Yeah, I think
it ain't going to happen in this league.
The refs are like, they're already not taking that much of a lenient view on half of the stuff that's going on now. So now,
well, the Kane call earlier, even Adam said he went, I think it's a pen, but Kane's overcooked it there, and he's starting to get the reputation for being a bit of a roll around, isn't he?
And I think if he went down in any other manner, or if that was Son that went down, I think it's a pen. I think we're looking at a pen, but because it's Kane and the way he's gone about things of recent, it's like people are just looking at it like,
Really? Yeah. Well, but then if you look, right before Saka scored, he got hacked down in the box, and instead of going down, he decided to get back up and pick that. But he could have bought a pen easy there, but he chose not to. And again, it's a very different mindset, isn't it?
Yeah. Even our second goal, when Højbjerg goes down before we go on to the other end and score. He goes down in our box, or near our box, where Xhaka's put the challenge in, but I think it's the way he goes down makes the referee be like, nah, there's nothing in there.
And I think as well, particularly, right, I have a controversial opinion that I actually do quite like Granit Xhaka.
Okay. Okay.
And I'm gonna tell you why. All right. If you look at how that man, plays for Switzerland, he is clearly a very able, very technical player. Okay.
Yeah.
He channels us in a bloody Perlo when he's playing at international level. You know, I don't know what he was doing in the US. He's clearly a very capable player. He clearly, despite all the crap he's had from us Arsenal fans, some of it deserved, and some of it not. He's always cracked on and just got the job done. I mean, yes, there was the horrible incident where he told everyone to F off and whatnot, but he came to the league with a bit of a reputation for being a bit tough. I do think there are certain things he gets booked for, and if it was a different player, the booking wouldn't stand. I do think. And I think some players, like Højbjerg, did this little clip from Xhaka, let me go down, because he's got a reputation as being a bit of a dirty player. Okay.
See,
but his heart is always in it, and he always gives 110% for this team. No matter how much abuse he gets, he's a workhorse, and I will always respect him for that, because there are a lot of other players who'd be like, do you know what, sod you lot, I'm not here for your abuse. I'm not.
I get
but
that.
He still trains.
I think
gives everything. I don't think he's the best player.
Oh no, for sure. But where I differ with Xhaka, I feel like I think he's technically good. I think if he was in a team where he's only asked to do one thing, then I think he would shine.
Really well.
Yeah, and I think over the years with managers, it's almost like, okay, be our deep sitting midfielder, where we want you to make the tackles, but we also want you to progress the ball, and we also want you to find the final pass. And he kind of like loses it, and then he's trying to overcompensate for not being
Yeah,
able to do
100%.
all of the jobs.
All the
So
stuff.
I
Yeah.
don't doubt his heart is ever in like the right place or anything like that. I just think in a system where you need to be more flexible, I think more often than not, some of
Yeah.
his weaknesses or like
They do show
shortcomings
through.
show
They
up a
do.
little bit. But in terms of his commitment, and I'm talking from a standpoint of never being injured, always ready to be selected whenever the manager needs. Like no,
Doesn't
like
go in the
literally
media and
going,
mouth off when he doesn't get selected and things like that, you know.
yeah, he's there. He's there for that for sure.
And
So you can't.
Arteta definitely sees something in him because
Mm,
he's continued to blame. When the Roma offer came in, I thought 18 million, is that it? I'm sorry, he's definitely worth more than that,
yeah.
especially after his Euros performance. But then I think Serie A would really suit him. I
Oh,
think if
totally,
because it's just
totally.
a little bit slower than the Prem. It's still quite a physically defensive league, which
Hmm.
he likes. And he would have exactly what you said he needs. He would have one job.
Yeah,
He would
yeah,
have one
yeah.
job and he would be really, really good at it. And I know exactly why Mourinho was
Mm.
eyeing him up because he
Oh yeah,
knows the
for
same.
sure. He knows, yeah.
He
And
knows the
and I'm
same.
the same. When the offer come in, I was a bit conflicted. I was like, okay, it's a chance now for us to finally move on our midfield and do something totally new and fresh and just, just breathe some new life into it. But at the same time, it was like, okay, it isn't quite on the money. Like you're trying to just rob us here because because of the times that we're in. You're trying to pull a fast one and get a decent player off the back of a decent Euros as well. Like he had one of his
Really good
best
year. He had a
competitions.
great tournament. Great
Yeah.
tournament. But the thing is as well, Jack is not the best player, but he is an important player. And I
Mhm.
would argue who replaces him in that role. Because until you've got someone better than that, it's pointless selling.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
Well, I
pointless
don't.
selling, then hoping you'll get someone that's
Yeah.
it's
I mean,
complicated, isn't it?
I was
Who do you
hoping
put there?
out for
Sambi?
Basuma. I was hoping out for Basuma, to be honest. Like when the rumor came in, I was like, okay, if we sell him, get Basuma. But then I think the African
Mm.
Cup of Nations kind of like made them rethink. Okay, well, we're gonna have no midfield in January. Like, what are we gonna do?
Yes,
So
yes. Who's going? Aubameyang will go. Sambi will
Aubameyang,
go. Party will
Party will
go.
go. Um, oh no, I think Sambi isn't Sambi Belgian. I think he might be.
Oh,
I think
he is.
Sambi's Belgian. Yeah.
Am I thinking of Tavares?
Pepe
No,
Pepe will go.
Pepe. Yes, yes, he will. He's Ivory Coast. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
Those are some
um,
quite significant players to not be
yeah, some
around.
big players. Yeah,
Yeah.
some big players. So,
And like Liverpool, who will lose both Salah and Mane.
oh man, yeah, that sounds good. That sounds good.
Yeah, but they got Jota and Bobby F up front. They'll be fine. Bobby and his teeth will be fine up front. It'll be all right. I also am
Oh
not happy
god.
about Jurgen Klopp no longer wearing his glasses. I can't get on board with it. It's
Nah.
upsetting me.
Yeah, it is a bit weird, isn't it? But he's going through his whole makeover. First goes the teeth, then the eyes, and like
Yeah, he went to
you're
Bobby's
revamping.
dentist. You can
Yeah.
tell. It's like day glow. It's a lot. It's a lot.
But yeah,
Oh
no, on
dear.
the
Yeah.
whole, man, I'm thrilled. Like this
Yeah.
weekend, like the results from yesterday, I was just like, oh man, please just keep this going, keep this vibe going because it's just fantastic. And then today, man, what can I say? I was buzzing,
I don't.
absolutely
Yeah.
buzzing.
I don't think anything made my day more than Man United losing to Villa
Yeah.
and Fernandes spooning a penalty. I was like, oh god, yeah. Even if we lose tomorrow, this is still a great weekend of sport. Like,
It was
yeah.
awesome. It was awesome with Ronaldo
I'm
just standing right behind him, like, dude, like seriously.
like, just let me take it, please. The
You
battle of the
even had
Portuguese egos.
you had
Yeah.
what was his name? Martinez telling him, oh no, let Ronaldo take it. I'm ready for him to take.
You know what? I love Martinez. And I
That was
understand why we
awesome.
had to let him go. But
Yeah,
he's got some right. He's a
character
right
in it.
wind up merchant, isn't
Yeah,
he?
yeah,
He'll
yeah.
be there in goal. I think he was doing it in the South American Cup, the Copa America,
Oh
wasn't
yeah,
it? And
yeah, yeah.
he was going, yeah, I know which way you're going. You're going to go left. All right, come on then, like proper winding people up. I was like, that's an Arsenal man right there.
It's awesome. You
Yeah,
can't beat that, man. You can't beat
he's
that. But
big as well. He's
yeah,
huge. He
no,
just
he
fills
is.
the
He's a
goal.
huge presence, man. Huge presence, and he's done well since he's gone there. Much to some Arsenal fans' annoyance, but I don't begrudge him that. Like he's with the club for so long. he needed to move on, and we
We
needed to get
decided
the
to throw
money
our
from
eggs
him.
in one basket.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
we decided to make that call to stick by Leno, which I'm imagining not everyone's fully happy or on board with. But
I don't know. Leno's a weird one because for me, he's not in the
yeah,
bin. I know for a lot of people, he's like, oh, we need to move on. But for me, it's like
he's
there's
he's a
times
good
where I think
keeper.
his distribution just needs to be quicker. I don't even think he makes the wrong decisions a lot of the time. I just think it just needs to be quicker. Like so then it would
Martinez's
just
distribution was excellent. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
I think with Leno as well, I do feel for him because, like I kind of said earlier, we've had, how long has he been in the club? 3 years, 3 4 years, 3 years.
Yeah,
And that
yeah,
man has never had a stable back line in front of him.
yeah. That's true.
It was a 3, it was a
That
4, it
is
was a
true.
5, it was a 4, it was a 3, it was Chambers, and then Holding all of a sudden at right back. Like
Yeah.
that man never had it wasn't like David Seaman where occasionally you get Keown or Bold switching around.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
it was never a solid back line,
Yeah,
and
it's
there is
true.
only so much you can do as a keeper under those circumstances.
It's
So I do
true.
feel for him.
And then
I
when he
do
did
feel
start
for
to
him.
get into a rhythm, and Kean Tierney gets injured, and then Xhaka's playing left back, and you're like,
Oh Jesus,
what?
no one needs that, do they? He wasn't that bad.
He wasn't bad. It wasn't bad actually, but it's just we didn't need it.
Right. I think as well, like with Leno, he got injured not last season. It was the back end of the season before, wasn't it, when we won the FA Cup?
Yeah.
And he just hasn't quite looked the same since he's come back from that injury. It reminds me. Do you remember when we first got Mustafi? I know, dirty word, but for the first season, he was incredible, wasn't he? He played 20 games on the bounce, and we didn't lose one. Got that back injury and came back and it was like a completely different player. It was like, who are you? You're not the World Cup winner that we signed. Like,
yeah.
I mean, Leno's hasn't been quite as extreme, but I do think he's not been the same since that injury. Bellerin's another one actually since the last big injury. That's not quite been the same.
Kind of hurts me the most because Bellerin was like at that stage, he was like literally killing it every game, week in, week out, and then he gets the injury and he's out for so long. And when he came back, I think me more than most, I gave him like the grace. I gave him so much time because I'm just like, at the end of the day, I know what you've gone through, and you was doing it for us. Yeah. So you can't just forget all of that. And up to this day, like there's games where like he has a bad game, but I still know he's a decent player in there. It's just affected him. You can see the injuries just taken away a bit of his confidence and a bit like
that fear of getting. He's had a couple big ones, hasn't he?
Yeah.
He's had a couple, not just the one. He's had the cruciate, or did he have that twice? But he's definitely had a couple.
Setback. I think he had it, and then he had a setback after he came back shortly after.
Yeah, and that is gonna throw you a bit. I think your confidence. And like Kieran Tierney, who's not scared of anything. He's like, yeah, the way I play, I am going to get injured. It is what it is. Like,
it's all or nothing with that guy.
Love him. He's great. He's absolutely mad.
Yeah.
Like, have you seen all the stuff of him with the Green Brigade with Celtic and stuff? Just like in the crowd with a megaphone. He's proper.
Oh really?
I like
He's
him.
on it.
Yeah.
Love it. Absolutely.
And look it up for next time. We'll do some screenshots for everyone they can see.
Yeah, for sure. I'll check that out. I'll check that out. But yes. Second half was kind of just like seeing out the game, wasn't it? It was just game management. They got their goal. But again, it's just like at that stage we weren't really trying to push on and score any more goals. It was just like to see this out. We're in a comfortable position. Yeah. So
why run yourselves out getting absolutely exhausted when your game's done?
Yeah, for sure. Do you think Arteta got it spot on then for this one?
Yeah,
he
did. I did look at it and I thought, I was a bit like, it's a shame Pepe's not playing, but I understand why. I think he could not have put out a better first 11.
Mm-hmm.
I think tactically he got it right. I think I don't know whether it's his game management or his communicating it better to the players. That seems to be working.
He seems to have turned into like a philosopher of like the last couple of weeks, because he's turned into like this profound kind of new lease on life kind of guy. Like he's
become Eric Cantona, is what he's done. Yeah, no, this whole I see hope and shininess and stuff.
Yeah. It's like, I don't know if that.
Do you think he started doing yoga or something? Like something like that?
Maybe, or he's got like, I don't know, got a new pet or something. Something's changed in his life.
He's got a new pet.
He's got
The club dog. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
He's doing something, but it's working. So I'm not knocking it, man. Keep it going.
Yeah. I think when you see some managers that absolutely vilify their players in public, no, not naming any names, Jose Mourinho, you know, it doesn't, he's seen that not work.
Yeah.
And a few people have criticised him as being not a very good man manager, but I would argue otherwise. Because he has shown, because let's be honest, we know Aubameyang's had a few discipline problems. He had them at Borussia.
Yeah,
He had Borussia Dortmund, but I don't know why I call him Borussia. Everyone else calls him Dortmund, but there you go. And once or twice been late to training and been benched, and everyone's like, he can't do it. He can actually. Arteta's expectations are clear, and he's not afraid.
A lot of people think that he burns players a bit too. Like the players that are not in his tight circle, he's quick to burn them. But I don't like in terms of some of the young players. But I don't see it that way. Like some people felt that way with Martinelli and Balogun and stuff, and Saliba is another one. But the way I look at it is, those are 3 young players who are tied down to contracts, who are going to be with us for a good couple of years at least. So there's no rush. Why am I going to put this guy in, week out, kill his confidence off, and then what? In a year's time, he's going to be in the mud and he's not worth anything, and he's not going to be doing anything for us or anyone else. Like,
it's interesting you mention that, because a lot of people talked about the Martinelli thing, but I think he does have quite a good relationship with Martinelli. Martinelli's very positive about Arteta. The Balogun thing was a bit weird because he'd gone from not having a first team contract and still being on a youth contract to demanding actually quite a lot of money. Quite quickly. Yeah. Who's the other one you mentioned?
Saliba.
Something else is going on there that isn't right.
It is, isn't it?
There's something behind the scenes we don't know about that.
Well, I think initially, but then I'm looking at it now like, okay, when he comes back at the end of this season, he has 2 years left.
Will he come back?
I think for the age, because he's still going to be 20, 21 or something like that. That's still like, you look at how Ben White and Gabriel are playing
at a year or two older.
Yeah, and it's like, I wouldn't want any more from them or any more pressure heaped on them. So for Saliba to come in and be a number 1, like centre back at this age, I think would be pushing it a bit much. But then I think the contract stuff and all the stuff that's going on behind the scenes is dodgy. In terms
there was a weird thing involving an explicit video in a changing room. I don't know all the details of it. I skimmed over.
Yeah.
I think there's a little bit more. Yeah. I think there's definitely something more to the Saliba situation.
I think he's far too young to come in and be expecting to play week in, week out in the Premier League. Like, I don't think he's ready. I think that Arteta first come in and looked at him and was just like, no way am I risking my managerial hat on you at a 19-20-year-old boy. Like, you're not ready yet.
He's not. Yeah. Not physical enough.
But I think a lot of fans then took it as, okay, well, you spent all the money on playing. But it's like, but what's that going to do for the guy?
Emery did.
And what's that going to do for him? What's it going to do for Saliba? It's just going to kill him.
It's going to destroy his confidence.
Yeah. So, I don't know.
He's had a few injuries and stuff, hasn't he? As well,
yeah. So. I don't think Arteta is one to I don't think he's that bad at man management. I think he's his point of his managerial kind of, I don't know, array of skills is his in-game management. I think if things are going bad, he doesn't make the subs. Even this game, although we were winning 3-0 at the time, I think we could have made subs a lot earlier in that second half. I could see legs were getting tired, and we waited until the goal and like 10 minutes to go before we made the changes. But I think he could have made the changes earlier. It didn't affect the game, but
I do wonder if this is him responding to a lot of people, myself included, have said over the kind of the last year or two that he needs to pick his first 11 and stick with it. And I think he kind of knows who his first 11 are now. And I think he wants to give them as much game time together as possible and get them as 90-minute match fit as he can. Because I'll be honest, I'm still concerned that Partey's not 90 minutes fit. Torreira always struggled with 90 minutes fitness. And is it to do with that role and how we expect that player to play? So I do wonder if he thought, actually, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Let them just carry on enjoying the game together. But
Which
that
probably
could be
goes
it.
back to your point with Xhaka. He would generally play 90 minutes in that position and then, get some stick for doing the one or two things. Like he would do one thing towards the last 10 minutes of a game and be remembered
A
as
bit tired, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolute calamitous. Yeah.
So maybe
It's
there's something in
interesting.
there. Yeah.
Yeah. And I
But
think it is good that we've got options down, particularly down the wings, Saka, Smith Rowe, and Pepe, moving them in and out, because
yeah.
we've got to remember Saka's still young, and if we overplay him, what will happen to him is what happened to Michael Owen. He'll be injury riddled and run into the ground far too early, and we need to manage that as a club.
Yeah.
But we know Smith Rowe's a little bit injury prone, isn't he?
Yeah, and you've seen like teams go into both of them like in recent weeks, like leaving their marks on both Smith Rowe and Saka just to kind of see how they cope
Rough 'em
with
up.
it, kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah,
So I think, it'd be interesting to see if he sticks with this 11. Who've got Brighton next Saturday?
Yeah, Brighton.
Brighton, who might go top of the table if they beat Palace.
That's nuts.
What world are we living in?
That is nuts.
What
but what I am
world are we
enjoying
living
is
in?
the whole week that we have to prepare for these games. Like,
I
think that's
think-
showing in the 90 minutes that we're watching.
100%. I think a season of no European football is not the end of the world. We can focus on, and I'll get shot down by for a lot of people. I don't care if we win the League Cup. We win the League Cup. It's a bit of silverware, and it gets the momentum going. And I think a lot of managers like Pochettino were too quick to write off the cups and ended up with nothing.
Yeah, it's true.
Actually, Pep takes that cup really seriously. Jose Mourinho used to take that cup really seriously. I'd take the League Cup.
Yeah.
Or the FA Cup. It's route into Europe, and then but I think the whole week to prepare between games is not a bad thing at all.
Yeah,
not
for sure.
at all. I mean, revenue-wise for the club, obviously not great, but we need to remember Arsenal's one of the few clubs that aren't riddled with stupid amounts of debt as well. They say they can't, but actually they can afford a year of no European football.
Yeah,
of course they can. So.
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah, that's the game. That's the game, man. And I'm gonna take these high spirits all the way through the week. I might even rewatch it.
I don't normally stay up this late on a Sunday, but I'm gonna watch Match of the Day.
Yeah,
it's gonna happen.
Yeah, man.
I'm very excited.
Has to. Well, yeah, that's it. And yeah, we'll join me again, and we'll discuss next week's game or the weeks after, and take it from there. See how it goes.
Yeah. When we beat the top of the league team next week.
Yeah, of course.
We'll talk about that.
And then our race to top 4 is shaping up nicely, eh?
Well, listen, Tottenham were top of the league when we were bottom, and now we've just jumped them. So
that's true. That is true.
Yeah.
All right. Sweet.
No. All right.
All right, guys, and we'll join you again next week, same time. Peace.
Bye.